Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Cara Delane and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings and Cara Delane.
Welcome, everyone, to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And we have some Cowboys on the screen tonight, Ted.
I see them with you, Cara. So, hey, welcome, everybody. And thanks for being here. Day after Christmas, Shawn Butler, good evening. And Tony Owens, thanks for Tony, thanks for being here tonight. I saw that big toolbox you got for Christmas.
Pardon?
I saw that toolbox, that craft.
Oh yeah. That's I had this huge box when I was a tech, and things went different ways, and I'm building up again.
All right, Jerry Deal, good evening. And Cara, we're live tonight on what platforms?
We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I already see some comments rolling in, Ted. I think we're going to have a good night tonight.
All right, I bet we are. And Cowboy Hats, because we're looking forward to that big next event, which is coming up now about a month away, right? 4 weeks. And what are the dates on that again, Cara?
Yeah, it starts on January 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. So it's our first ever 4-day virtual event. It's themed for the Wild West. So that's why you see all the cowboy hats floating around. Hopefully everybody's got theirs. And you've also got your complimentary tickets at fixedopsroundtable.com.
And we are looking forward to that. And of course, our good friends Ed Roberts and Tully Williams will be with us as well. That was a fun show we had. We had a couple fun shows last week. I liked that one especially on Wednesday, where we found out that Tully and Ed weren't on the nice list.
I know. I guess they've been naughty this year. So I wondered if they, recovered it all through the last few days, but who knows? I don't know if Santa came to visit or not.
I don't know. We'll have to check in on them. So, Shawn, Santa came to visit with you, right?
Oh, absolutely. We have a 5-year-old, soon to be 6, shares the same birthday with Cara. So, Santa makes a big stop at our house. No doubt about it.
All right, good. And Cara, you went home over the holiday weekend, did you not?
I did. Yeah, I flew home down to West Texas, east of Lubbock, and got to spend time with my parents and my brother and his wife and my new baby niece. So it was really cool experiencing her first Christmas. She was tearing open the paper. She's only 6 months old, so she was ready for it.
But I saw pictures, and she's getting really big, and she looks great.
Yeah, she is the sweetest baby. I was like, they have it so easy. The next one's definitely going to be a disaster.
Tony, I'm wondering, were you an easy baby or were you a tough one?
I was actually a preemie. You would not believe how small I was when I was born. I was under 3 pounds when I was born. And in 61, you didn't have much of a chance at that age. No. And I made it. I'm actually taller than the rest of my family.
Hey, you know what, Cara? We also got to congratulate this fellow who's on tonight saying happy holidays, Owen Moon. Owen is now a proud grandfather. And Owen, I can't believe you're even old enough to be a grandfather, right? Cara, that's hard to believe.
I know. And I saw some of his pictures floating around social media, and it looked like they had a wonderful holiday with that baby too.
So, Owen, we got to have you on. We got to see some baby pictures. Got to bring them with you. Talk about what's ahead in 23 for Fixed Ops digital marketing, okay? And all the great things that you guys are working on. So I know Owen's working on a big presentation for the Wild West. And, these two Cowboys are too. They got a lot of FaceTime coming up at the next event. Shawn, you've already started, right? I mean, you already got a couple of panels in.
Yeah, yes, sir. I believe we've recorded 3, maybe 4 already, and I know we have at least 2 more that I'm aware of. So coming soon.
So this is going to be the first 4-day event, Cara. 4 full days at a Fixed Ops Roundtable.
What are we gonna do? 4 days? Crazy.
So I thought that Tony, before we do a 4-day event, that tonight we look back at 2023 at the events that we had this year, because a lot of things happened this year. We turned the corner on a lot of stuff. I was just talking in the green room. Good evening, Coralie. Cara, there was no After Dark show this time last year. That hadn't happened yet. And that all started in January.
I think, yeah, mid-January, Ted. And I was thinking this weekend when I was at home when we started this, and I just feel like the entire year flew by. So looking back, I feel like some of our events that were earlier in the year were like 3 years ago.
It feels that way. So we're going to do a little trivia tonight and see if everybody remembers what those 4 events were. And, again, it feels like a whole different period of time. Good evening, James, as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And also I want to talk, Shawn, about the marketing because we changed a lot of the marketing this year. Kara had a much smaller piece in the events going into 2022. And Kara, I want to talk to you about that tonight as well. And, really in March, that was our first event. That was the first one that you and I really, did like everything right together. And we worked together and we pulled that off for the very first time. And I had made the decision it was going to be 3 days. So it was not easy.
It wasn't easy, but looking back on it, I feel like we've come so far since March. And I remember us discussing that March event thinking, oh, how are we going to figure all this out and get it all together? And now looking back, that was an easy event comparable to the rest of them that we had throughout the year. So it's pretty amazing.
And I think that one prepared us, okay, for what was coming up. So with the Wild West coming up in January, buddy, I want to look back. Robert Miggs, good evening. Carter Myers. Yes, Shawn and Tony, powerhouse crew. Absolutely, they are. I want to look back. It was March, and it was our first 3 full-day events. So what I mean by that is that it was going to go from 9 a.m. until 5, right? So that's what? How many hours is that? 8 hours, right, Shawn? Times
8
3.
hours if you take lunch. Yeah, right. Or with no lunch. Yeah.
We had no lunch. Okay, so it would be a 24-hour event. So we did it in March, and there was a suggestion that we name it after a sports event that happens in March every year. And does anyone remember what the theme was for the
Magic Madness? Magic Madness? I'm trying to think.
March Madness, right?
I'll give everybody a hint. You guys are very close. And here's the hint, which was actually one of the first marketing pieces we did earlier this year. So we decided March Magic was going to be the theme.
March Magic.
Oh. Randy Brinkman actually helped us with that, and his wife Kim a whole lot back at the event just before that in November of 21. And we came up with a name. And this time, Kara, instead of doing some of the transitions, Kara, you were going to do all the transitions. So I don't know if does anybody remember how Kara dressed up and in what, what line of work she was in for the being the speaker at this event who's going to announce all the speakers. I don't know if you all remember that.
I don't remember that. No.
Being honest, it's been so many events and so many segments I watch. No.
All right. And Kara, I don't even know if you remember, but I'll show you a promo that we did from that event, and that'll give you a hint.
Kara Delaney here, looking across the court as Ted makes a break towards the next Big Stops Roundtable. Ted and I will be calling the shots virtually during Big Stops Roundtable March Magic, happening on March 9th, 10th, and 11th. It will be a sold-out online arena, so make sure you get your complimentary tickets now at BigStopsRoundtable.com so you can get in to hear all of the MVPs of automotive speak during this 3-day event. You won't want to miss the plays that John Traver and his team have up their sleeves. Reporting courtside on press row at Hinton Brand Dealership. Back to you, Ted.
I remember now very well.
Well, no, there we go.
The sports.
So, Kara, what made you be the announcer from the court, from the floor?
Yeah, so I remember dressing up. I was a basketball player, a referee, and then the sports announcer. And I remember telling you, Ted, that I used to tell my father when I was a little girl that my dream job was to be either the Fox girl or the ESPN girl that announced different sporting events. So it was a fun event for me because I was living my childhood dream.
Yeah.
And Owen Moan, I don't know if you're still with us, but I know, Owen, you remember that event very, very well, when Kara was the announcer. And Kara, I felt that you kind of had a message in there when you said Ted and I we'll be calling the shots.
Yeah.
Because really now, that was the first time you and I would call the shots for a whole event, and we do it for 3 days, and it was quite a test. So
yeah, it was. I remember writing the transitions to that one too, and I was calling different people, trying to get different, sports analogies and different lingo to make it all flow together. So it was a really fun event. I liked that one.
Mike Weldon, good evening. You were a big part of that as well. And there's Owen Moon. And, a lot of people, Tony, remember the panels. They remember the speakers. I know we had Greg Penske at that one here. I'll show you the lineup. This is how the final Eventbrite anchor image came out. Greg Penske spoke over there on the right. And I had worked on having Greg speak that was like almost 2 years in the making. And I know Kara had heard me say that, but it took a long time to get him to come on the show. And we had Brian Benstock, we had Bob Tasca back, we had Liza, we had Fernando, and that was March Magic, and that was in March of this past year, and a lot of marketing to pull that together. So, and I think it's part of what's made this event different, Shawn, is the marketing. That we spend a lot of time with the themes and all these little things, but we kind of try to make it make sense as well. So
yeah, I've been amazed at watching the transformation over the past, 3+ years now. And then with Kara's even transformation just this year with how much, she's become more involved and handling more of the segments and the transitioning. It's just been amazing to watch, and I saw Jerry Davis on there and Owen Moon, David Lucas. There's
David Lucas, yeah,
Michael Weldon. There's a lot of great guys on there tonight. But watching this event unfold and evolve has I look forward to the schedule and the lineup and going, I want to watch that. I want to watch that. I want to watch that. So it's a really good time.
Then we had an event in May. It was the second one of the year. Oh, by the way, March Magic not only broke every record, but shattered every record we had for the Fixed Ops Roundtable, broke every single record by a huge margin. I didn't even think it was possible. I knew like in February that was going to be a huge event, but I had no idea how big. And we came back in May, we did it again. And the theme in May, everybody, had a Star Wars theme.
May the 4th be with you.
Yep. And we thought that we would bring this little guy out, and Kara had a hand and her dealership had a hand. But Kara, I like the fact that it was not just an R2D2, but you renamed him BGD2. And here he is getting some little recon work, Shawn, before he goes out. And Kara, you're Princess Leia here.
I think, honestly, Ted, this event, the Star Wars theme, nobody will ever forget. I have heard this from the day that we started marketing the May the Fort Be With You event. I have heard about Princess Leia nonstop since then, and it was definitely one of my favorite events. My boss here at the dealerships, his cousin actually brought this real R2D2 that he built because he's a huge Star Wars fan, and it's registered with Star Wars and everything. He brought it to the dealership and let me borrow it for the day, and that definitely topped off the entire event. And
you got a lot of mileage on BGD2 here. And so this was a Star Wars theme, and we brought in a lot of Star Wars type clips. There was Beth Beans Gilbert from the Fred Beans family of dealerships. Stephen Ryder, good evening, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. And Beth did a panel on the women of Beans, and that was a phenomenal panel. And you did one, Kara, that you put together on the women of Henson brand. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that, but you did a lot of the coordination. You weren't physically on the panel, but you were behind there, getting the whole thing put together.
Yeah, that was fun. I had them all set up in kind of cubicles around the media room to be on that panel. So it was really, really fun to have all the ladies here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. So we had a fun event then at that time. And Stephen, we did talk quite a bit about warranty at that event as well. And here was a marketing piece that Kara did, which I think you termed the iconic promo, and here it is. The automotive industry is so volatile right now, and we are relying on fixed ops departments around the galaxy to help us win this battle. Spread the word that the next Fixed Ops Roundtable virtual event will be May 17th, 18th, and 19th. And everyone can reserve their complimentary seat on the Fixed Ops Starship now at fixedopsroundtable.com to take part in this 3-day mission. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Fixed Ops Roundtable, your automotive's only hope.
That was cute. Yeah, I'll never forget the Princess Leia outfit. I'm one of those ones. I was like, oh, look at her. She's going.
And a lot of people up until that time, Shawn, we don't talk about it a lot, but a lot of people, who promote women in being in retail automotive and being automotive careers, had questioned, why do you have a woman as a co-host? All right. And this actually came up a lot. Okay?
Really?
Yes. And I said, here we have a woman who's not only in automotive, but she's in a dealership. Okay. And she works in a dealership. And that piece that you just saw was different on a couple different levels, Tony, because this time, not only was Kara the talent, okay, and filming it, putting it together, but Kara was now editing it, and Kara had put the whole thing together with the backgrounds, the colors, the whole 9 yards. So that was entirely Kara. And that was one of the first times, Kara, that that I saw that you were now able to take it even a further step, and that was just the beginning for what was going to happen later in the year.
Yeah, and I remember that specific video you just showed. I had my producer here at Hinson Brand help me out with, because I couldn't get the front and back view, and he has tons of experience, but I wanted that one spot of advertisement to be the best that it was, and I was not about to mess it up. So I called in for some backup that day, and it turned out really incredible. And that's probably my favorite advertisement that I've done for the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah, certainly one of the most memorable. And Shawn, a lot of those folks, stopped right after that event. They stopped with the criticism, all right? Because, now we had another huge event, May the 4th. I mentioned Beth Beans Gilbert, and she's right there next to Ed Roberts. And, of course, we had Dale Pollack from V Auto talking about the used car market, and Tully was there as well. But there was a huge emphasis on women in retail automotive at this event, as there is in all of our events. But this one was another powerhouse. And again, 3 days, 24 hours of Fixed Ops, 3 full days of Fixed Ops content. And there was just a whole lot of stuff to share. And I was amazed how just 2 months later, there was so many new things to talk about. And, 2 huge events. And that kind of set the stage, Coralie, to what was coming up in the fall.
More women. We need more women.
We do.
There's a lot of dealerships out there that have as many as 40-50% ladies working at that dealership. So I'm super amazed at that. Yeah.
And, it's okay to, I'll be critical as well. We've had a lot of panels come on, companies and organizations who want to do promotion of women in automotive. And, they'll have maybe 5 or 6 or 7 ladies. And I had one last week, and I was very critical. I said, okay, we've got a panel here. Nobody works in a dealership. Okay. And they didn't see it. It didn't seem to matter. Okay. And I said, no, we have to regroup. And by the way, if it was all men on the panel, I would do the same thing. Mike Vogel put together a panel of 3 or 4 experts. And I said to Mike, there's nobody from a dealership. We have to go out. And he added Stephen Hill, and he added a couple people from in-store. And so it's the same thing. So we've got to have retail people. So I think that's part of Stephen Apicella, good evening, the factor that we've got retail people, and we're not just a vendor, meeting. So a lot of focus on dealership people.
No, funny, we could text my lady support team at Repair Pal right now, and I have 3 of them text back like within a minute.
Yes, absolutely. So, and I've said to Roger Conan, who does a lot of stuff with us at the Roundtable, Roger, here's where we stand. We need, more focus on this area, but there's always a women focus. in our panels and on our speakers, and Eliana Raggio was a keynote speaker. The September event, Kara, Roaring 20s, you started on that, I believe, right around the 4th of July. And, take us through that and take us through the marketing of that, because now you were going to be a flapper girl. And I was ready for some criticism on that, by the way, as well.
And I was a little worried about it too, because I could have got spun 1,000 different ways, as we know. But what better way to embrace the Roaring 20s than to have that image and to have that persona for our advertisements. And it was really fun, and that was something that I could get my hands on easily with, was the outfits. Now, I will tell you guys, the wigs were a different story. Those wigs, and so many people were asking me if I was wearing wigs, and I had so many different ones. I kept having to reorder them because of the headbands messing them up, and I had to watch I watched The Great Gatsby, and I watched all these different older movies to try to really embody what I needed to be for these advertisements. And I joke that I always feel like an actress rehearsing for, a role or whatever, because I do so much research and studying that most people never see, to really try to hit the nail on the head with each of these events. And this one was obviously more difficult for me because I was born in the 90s. So it took a lot of practice.
Well, within a short period of time, other people started wearing costumes, and we decided we're going to have a best dressed award, and of which we had many best dressed awards. And here are the winners. Okay. And it was tough, Kara, choosing the winners, but not only were you dressing up now, but our key speakers, here's Tully, here's Erica Tiffany, here's David O'Brien, Sarah Van Tyne, right? Lori Halter, Marco dressed up, Brooke and Scott Gregg. So that started around July. And in July, Shawn, we went to a 2-day format during the week with After Dark. And I tell you, end of July, Kara, I was questioning, if I maybe should have taken the month of July off, because I'm like, boy, I'm not sure, this Roaring 20s thing is sticking. And Kara said to me, Shawn, she said, no, stay with it, stay the course, don't change, stay on the message. And Kara, a few weeks later, it paid off.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Kara won the best dressed award for the Roaring 20s. She just wasn't allowed.
I think Quantum had meetings about it.
It was the first, I will call it the Fixed Ops Roundtable revolution, I feel like, because it was so nice to have other people dressing up with me finally, Ted. And it was amazing to see this whirlwind on social media of so many people just popping up here and there wearing Roaring 20s outfits. And I think that really helped our event to make it all that it was.
And Coralie, that's the first time that you and I spoke as well. And now our editing team began putting together promos and pieces with Roaring 20s images and music. And here's a short transition we used at the event. And then to top it off, our friend Bob Tasca had just won a big race or two. And we thought, since he's going to speak at the event and he's representing the automotive industry and technicians and BG products, how cool would it be if there was some way possible that we were able to get his fire suit, his racing suit, and get that over to Kara so Kara could wear that at the event. And Bob Tasca, Kara, and BG, they made that possible.
Yes, that was honestly, Ted, one of the most stressful weeks of my life. Having Bob Tasca's actual racing suit, I thought they were going to make me one or send me a replica. No, it was his real racing suit. And it came in a very fancy box, delivered overnight, with a strict note that said I needed to send it back by a certain date for his next race. So I stayed at the dealership until about probably midnight, filming all the content in the suit because I felt such an urgency to get it back to him. But by far was one of my favorite days working for the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And huge shout out to Bob Tasca and his team for sending that over to us, because it definitely made the entire event what it was.
And Roaring 20s came out September 20th, Tony Owens. That was
the Chameleon gets it done.
Chameleon gets it done. Yeah, yes, she does. That was a 3-day event. And Kara, by the middle of August. We were still a month away. We had already shattered all the records that had happened in March. And I knew this was going to be the biggest event ever. And Roaring Twenties delivered. And, just amazing how that all kind of came together. So.
And I remember I sent you so much stuff at one time. I was just on a roll to the point we were approaching the event, and I told you, I said, I don't even know what I've posted, what I've sent you. My phone is full. I have all this content with Bob Tasca's uniform and all this Roaring 20 stuff. So it was just huge, and it was a super success for Fixed Ops and the automotive industry, and for you, Ted, and everybody involved.
Yeah. And Shawn Butler, that's when you and I first started really getting together, and you became involved on the panels and the content. And, talk to us about that, Shawn. What made you, and you were persistent for some time, right? To break through, and you had already broken through, but talk to us about that.
Well, it was interesting because you and I had touched bases, and over the course of the last 3 years, we had kind of become friends, and you would reach out, I would reach out. It just didn't coincide a couple of times. Oh, we'll have you on this, maybe not that. And then when I transitioned jobs in there, you were like, what can I do to help you? And I was like, hey, all right, thanks, Ted. We actually talked behind the scenes. It wasn't even about the show. And that's when we really connected. And, once we actually became, friends beyond the show, that's all of a sudden everything started flowing. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think it was when my automotive news cover hit. It wasn't the, some of the other ones like Fixed Ops Magazine, like Tully and Ed get, but I was on automotive news, and it kind of propelled things forward.
Yes. And you put that first panel together with Daryl Terrell and with Michael Moore.
Yeah.
And they were on the After Dark show a couple times, Kara, right?
Yeah.
And we saw the talent on there, and you guys just did an amazing job at the November event, which was Dare to Dream. And that had a little bit different focus right before Thanksgiving, right? And Shawn, you were on not only a number of panels there, but you had that one big panel with Daryl and with Michael, and that was just amazing.
Yeah,
and,
I'm looking forward to doing it again. Yeah, I think we're recording here soon for that one. We haven't set a date yet, but I've talked to Daryl and Michael, and they're both on board and can't wait.
Yep, I can't wait as well. And Tony, you did a keynote at Roaring Twenties with our good friends Ed Robert. In fact, last week, I don't know if you know this, Tony, that came out as the podcast for Fixed Ops Roundtable. We repurposed that into the podcast episode number 102 last week, you and Ed Roberts.
I didn't know that. I missed that when I had all kinds of stuff going on. I have to watch that thing on the YouTube.
We'll have to rerun it. So, but so Dare to Dream was another fun one. And now, Kara, we got a lot of great stuff coming up for Wild West. So talk to us a little bit about that. And you had a chance to take it up another notch, I think, this past weekend when you went home to see your parents as well.
Yeah. So when Ted told me that we were doing a Wild West theme, I automatically got excited because I'm from West Texas. So I knew that I could embody this country cowgirl theme because that's where I was, raised. And I knew I already talk like it, and I say y'all every other word. So I knew it wouldn't be too difficult for me, but it was the cherry on top when I got to go home for Christmas and send Ted some photos and do some content while I was in West Texas, east of Lubbock, and embody what the Wild West is to me.
And we're going to be showing that. That's going to come out. But Kara, and by the way, you had a great team of photographers there taking those pictures as well, Kara.
Yeah, so I had my family out there with me, and we went around to some of our family's lands, not far from where my parents live, out in Crosby County. And I got some amazing pictures of, some cattle, our canyon, different farmlands, some windmills that have been there. That truck, that's a 1960 grain truck that's been there. That was actually one of my great grandfathers back in the day that, I got to reminisce along with shooting some content for the Roundtable. So it was very special to me for sure.
A lot of fun.
Ted, I have to ask, Kara, were you a barrel racer?
I never rodeoed, but I did stock show. So I showed sheep, actually, and we don't have any more sheep anymore. We just have some cattle now. But I grew up on a Hampshire hog farm that my great-grandfather built. He was the #1 Hampshire breeder in the entire world at one time, and he was known for AIing these pigs. I never showed a pig, but we replaced them with some sheep through the generations, and then we had some cattle as well. So never rodeoing, but I was around a lot of livestock and a lot of farming.
You could always fall back on that work, Kara. So
I know. I was telling Ted earlier, I live a very different life these days. You know, my family are like, "Oh, you're the city girl now," but you can always tell where my roots come from, and I don't think this accent is ever going to go away.
Yeah. No, the yaws and the hays and growing up, spending a couple months a year on my grandparents' farm in Northwest Oklahoma, it never gets out of your blood, right? You always have that yearning back for it.
And I'll tell you that till the day that I die, I will always take it to my grave that I appreciate the clothes on my back and the food on my table because of how I was raised.
Yeah.
Amen.
All right. So big event coming up in 4 weeks, everybody. Wild West. Shawn Butler is going to be speaking at the event. He's got a number of roles. In fact, we're doing a one-on-one interview together with Shawn Butler, and our good friend Tony Owens is speaking at the event. And Tony, we're going to get together with Tully this time and orchestrate something there as well. So Tony will be speaking at the event. They both got their cowboy hats and they are ready. And Kara, they're making me look bad. So
I know neither one of us have cowboy hats on tonight. Ted, what are we doing?
Well, you have an excuse. So
you're slacking. That's what
well, that'd be awesome. Speaking with Tully on one, because he likes to make time. I like to save time. So it works both ways. We make time. Time is money.
All right, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that flows, Shawn.
No, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be a great event, and it's happening at that time of the year when we're trying to get the momentum going forward into 2023, and everybody's just building up and getting a big head of steam going. So it ought to be great fun. I learned so much during these.
And exactly. And Coralie, you were just on there leaving a comment before Robert Miggs. Coralie is going to be here tomorrow with Marco, and we're putting together a panel with back when there were phone books. They are both last names with a Z. They are the end of the phone book. So Marco and Coralie are doing a segment together, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I can't identify with that. I was a B, so I was always at the front of the class.
Yep. That's right. So, all right. And again, Kara, when are the big dates? They are January 23rd, right?
January 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. So if you haven't already got your complimentary tickets, grab them now at fixedopsroundtable.com.
And by the way, if you go to fixedopsroundtable.com, you will see all the roster. You'll see the speakers now. It's all been populated. So you can scroll down and go through the whole thing, and you can see maybe not all of the lineup, but you can see a big portion of the lineup is on there now. So you can see what's coming. And we had a chance to do that over the Christmas holidays. So we are looking forward to that.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And don't forget, Kara's birthday kicks off the event.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to remember that.
I'm not going to let him forget. I still asked him for a horse for my birthday.
That's right. Lord have mercy.
I know. She wants the horse. So, all right. And now are we coming back on Wednesday, right, Kara?
We are coming back on Wednesday, Ted. Yep. Kick off one last time before 2023.
All right. So we will look back at 2023 and one more show for this year, Kara Delane. I'm looking forward to it. Tony Owens, thank you for your friendship and all your great support and all that you do.
Remember now, it's we in 23, meaning team. Best team on the planet, Team Germain. We in 23.
I love it.
Let's go.
All right, good. And Shawn Butler, same thing. So great stuff.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thank you, Karen. Thank you, Tony, and all the support that we get from all the great people that we're involved with. It's just always an incredible time.
Certainly is.
Thank you guys for dressing up for the event and getting ready for the Wild West. And I hope you guys have a wonderful new year if I don't get to speak with you guys again. Thank you, everyone, for watching tonight. Hopefully, everyone had a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Have the best.